Second word. The Lord showed me, it was a movie that my father was looking at the other day. And it was so weird because they were talking about a military troop. This word might go up after my word about the troop, but there was a military troop that was supposed to be going into this area, and they needed to pass over a bridge. Now, go back and look at my word on crossover. I did a word on crossover, and I did 3 days worth of how to pack and go. Now, I talked about how in the state of Maryland that the Key Bridge went down. Remember that? Key opens a door. As according to Revelations. Is it Revelations? Or Isaiah, either one. Revelations has 3 and 8, but Isaiah has 22 and 22. That the key of David was given that would open and shut doors. Remember that? Now, so if the bridge is a key, think about this. God makes a path in the wilderness and streams in the desert. A what? Bridge is a bypass. It's a passover. It's a thing that allows you the ability to cross from one side to another side over a body of water. Now we could go into the marine kingdom, spirit, and all that kind of stuff. Not necessary today. But there has been a fight coming against the ability to cross over. Now, with that, the Lord showed me this conversation in this film. And I was listening. I was like, wait, because I was working on something else and my dad was watching the movie. And I was like, what did they just say? Basically, they were literally saying that they were the American team coming in to fight this war, but they needed to cross over a bridge. But their military captain was saying, well, the bridge be up, but at night, I think it was what was being said was that the Germans were rebuilding the bridge over and over again, but they would blow it out in the middle of the day. Meaning it would be blown out in the middle of the day to prevent anyone from coming in, but they would quickly rebuild it at night. And me and my dad were having a conversation about it. It's like, man, if so-and-so had that, then blah, blah, blah. But what was the point? One of the characters in the film was saying, if they blow up the bridge every day, then they have to rebuild it at night. So they are creating a bridge. God creates pathways in what? The wilderness. God is one that no matter what they blow out in the middle of the day, He will always create a bridge back, even if He has to give you a detour. And it was a young woman that I was listening to yesterday, and she was making a point of saying that sometimes God will reroute you by detouring you. But at the same time, in this film, they said that it was rebuilt overnight. Catch that. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about the fact that it will come in the middle of the night. God brought the Passover when? He didn't do that in the middle of the day. He didn't kill all those people in the middle of the day. He did it at night. The children of Israel walk through the desert by a pillar of what? Fire. At night. God does a lot of miracles at night. In some, you might think of it like this, that when God does that, he's proving that no matter what the enemy thinks that he wants to do at night, God's more sovereign, that he will do miracles in his time. Why? Because the light cancels out the darkness. Yes? So what the guy was saying is, what if the bridge is there? And the other guy was saying, what if the bridge isn't there? A lot of you get caught up in the fact that this is a season of crossover. And in the midst of our crossing over, we want to make sure we've crossed our T's and dotted our I's and are fully prepared to cross into where God has told us. So we're like, what if the bridge isn't there? How are we going to operate? So you get caught up in the spirit of false evidence appearing real, saying, oh my God, I've prepared. What if it doesn't turn out the way that I want it to? But the other guy is saying, what if it is there? What if it's actually there? And the last part of the guy's statement was, the bridge will be there only if you just believe. You have to believe that God will do what he said that he was going to do. But you gotta believe he will. You are going to cross over into what God told you, but you gotta believe he's going to do what he said he was going to do to get you to cross over into that thing that you've been waiting on. And some of you, it's going to happen so suddenly, but because you have subconsciously been in a state of unbelief, I do believe, but help my unbelief. Guess what? You're going to be frantic when it happens, because there's also a scripture that talks about there are things that I have already told you of were going to happen, and I'm going to do them suddenly. But what? People don't believe. It's another scripture that talks about, you will be shocked because I'm about to do again and again and again and again. And this is where he talks about opening in Mark 7:37. He opens the deaf ear and allows the mute person to speak. Some of you, communication and a lot of stuff is coming that you've become desensitized to it actually happening due to the fact that it's taken so long. But God's going to do it suddenly, and you're going to be sitting there with mud on your face because you were like, I know what God's been telling me. Do you know what God's been telling you? Stay in position, because the enemy is trying to get you out of position. Because you're over here thinking, what? What if the bridge isn't there? What if the crossover point isn't it? What if it's not there? But what if it is? The bridge will be there, but in some cases, it takes your belief. Pray, I do believe. Help my unbelief, Lord. Because it says in that very same scripture, if I'm not mistaken, that God will make your request come to pass. In the prayer of Jabez, he says, I will make this come to pass for you. 11 times in the Bible, if not more, does he say, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be open. But you gotta believe. The bridge is there to get you across, but you gotta believe it. So I hope this blessed you. Until next time, bye-bye.